Hello again, welcome back. I'm quickly recording a series on Formula 3, Formula 2 and Formula 1. Recorded and did part of the video for Formula 3 hopefully yesterday if I've got this all worked out right. Today I'm moving on to Formula 2, and the plan is I'm going to set a 10-minute timer and hopefully I'm going to talk about everything I want to within that time, although going on my previous efforts, maybe this might not work quite so well. So credit to me, Ollie, for me stealing the idea from TGSF1, me stealing the idea from him. Right, let's get into it, shall we? There's the timer set on the phone, and we are go. Right, start at ART for the first spot, and their drivers, you've got Christian Lundgaard, we'll start with him, and very impressive in Formula Renault a couple of years back, where he was top rookie after a very good season, ran his teammate and fellow Renault junior Max Futrell close to the championship in that one. And then last year when they were teammates together, Christian got the advantage over him in racing. So he comes in looking pretty decent. He's highly rated, highly fancied, and there's every reason to believe that he may, if not next season and the year after possibly, be looking at a Formula 1 drive, because he is definitely one of the shining lights of the Renault series. Moving on to his teammate, and if I like Christian, I like Marcus even more. Marcus Armstrong is a guy I've been following since he was announced for Ferrari in 2016. So we ran into him a few times, and he's a cool lad. I do like him. And obviously, during that time, he's won various series. He's come second a few times in various series as well. But he's someone who seems to have a lot of natural pace, and the moment he develops his consistency over a season to go with it, he's going to be rapid, as in proper championship winning rapid. I can't talk about Marcus often enough. A lot of people who follow me on Twitter or whatever else will know I tend to sort of run on about him a fair amount whenever it comes up, who do you think will win or who do you think will do well in these things. So yeah, people know my opinion on Marcus. Moving on to Prema now, they're an interesting one, because it's again a double Ferrari Driver Academy lineup there, where you've got Mick Schumacher and Robert Schwartzman. We'll start with Mick first. Traditionally does very well on his second season and stuff. When he was in ADAC, he finished second in his second season. Then he moved to European Formula 3 and won that in his second season. Last year, I thought on occasion he looked incredibly rapid, but the problem was quite often there had been an incident which wasn't all his fault earlier on in the race, which tended to lead to him being kind of further back than really his pace suggested he should have been, and he was showing great pace, but it was for about 14th, 15th place, which is not where you want to be. But he finished 12th in the championship, I think it was, which I don't think was representative of his speed. But you've got to have consistency as well, and unusually for him, it's sort of a bit backwards, because normally he builds up on the speed, but sort of semi-consistent. This time around, he sort of had the speed, but wasn't perhaps as consistent. So we'll see if he's managed to get to grips with both this year. And then his teammate, Robert Schwartzman. Robert is a massively consistent driver. Tends to sort of build up a little bit slowly, almost in seasons. When I've watched him in European Formula 3 and Toyota Racing Series, I've always sort of been left with the impression that he sort of is there at the end of the championship, but you're not entirely necessarily sure how he got there. He sort of snuck up on it. Last year was actually an exception. From the get-go, he was fast out of the gates, and he was the guy everyone else was trying to catch. And it looked like it was his for a while. I like Marcus. Marcus just wasn't as consistent. he was involved in more incidents, found himself out of place because of sometimes going out at the wrong times in qualifying, for example. Whereas Robert, he did what champions should do, which was maximise every possible opportunity. And for a rookie in F2, he's going in quite a fancied situation, which you don't tend to get so much. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. But despite the fact that Prema hasn't necessarily done too well in the last few years, both Prema boys are highly fancied as people for the championship next year. Univirtuosi, we'll have a look at them. First up, Callum Eilert. Again, another Ferrari Driver Academy guy, and very nice lad from what I can work out. I think he's from Kings Lynn. Not that that should make any difference, but a guy whose reputation sort of deserted him perhaps a little bit earlier on when he got put in Euro F3 perhaps too soon. I'll have spoken to this people before. And then because he didn't win the title in his first year or whatever and didn't quite press as much as Red Bull might have wanted, they ended up dropping him. But he's a guy who can be lightning fast, but again, perhaps just not quite got the consistency required for a full-on championship push. I think when Lando Norris won the Euro F3 championship, Callum was one of his main rivals there, and in qualifying, the pair of them were properly on the level with each other. But Callum just got involved in more incidents, but the guy has the pace. Again, similar with Marcus, if he can just get the consistency to go with it, the potential is definitely there. Guan Yu Zhao. If you'd have told me 2 years ago that people would be talking about him in terms of going up to F1 and that they fancied him as winning the F2 title, I'd have gone, really? But last year was probably the best season I've ever seen him have. It certainly is most consistent since I think he finished second in Italian F4 going back several years now. He's just been traditionally that kind of guy where you spend half a season being nowhere and then win a race out of nowhere. He's always sort of had the potential to be quick, but just putting it all together and make it all come together has not necessarily been that easy. Dan Ticktum, Dams, very highly controversial figure. Depends which Dan turns up. If he is as quick as we think he should be, then he's in with a shot at the title. If his brain runs away from him or he forgets to engage it and he just gets carried away with other stuff, he's going to end up looking a bit unpopular. No point talking about his teammate. Jack Aitken at Campos. Really do have a lot of time for Jack Aitken, but I'm running out of time, otherwise I would spend more time talking about Jack. But he's a nice lad. I think at Campos, though, he's not really in much of a shot at the title, unfortunately. Similar with Louis Delatraz at Charoux. Delatraz is a guy who's clearly talented, but I coined the phrase Louis Delatraz like last year because it really didn't go his way at all. Jahandar Avala and Yuki Tsunoda at Carlin. Both Red Bull Juniors, but both there, I feel, for more political reasons. They're talented, but neither of them have necessarily shown title-winning credentials, I don't feel. Nobahara Matsushita, we're getting into MP Motorsport now, and I mentioned yesterday about MP is I love them as a team, same as I do with Campos, but they're not a team which is ever looks in danger of winning a title. Nobahara Matsushita, I sort of feel like he's not there because he's expecting to end up in Formula 1 or to go on. He's there because he wants to be racing in Formula 2, which is a great thing to be, but Felipe Drugovich, his teammate, I'm actually more interested in. European Formula 3 Open, get the name right eventually. He absolutely dominated that a couple of years ago. Class of the field, admittedly, it wasn't the strongest field, but absolutely tore it apart. And when he was signed for Carlin last year, I was quite excited about that in F3. But Carlin just, for whatever reason, they did not get up on top of the car. So a lot of people feel like Felipe Drugovich shouldn't really be in Formula 2. But as he said, the thing is, and this is the bit where a lot of the rookies, it's going to play to them a little bit, they're changing the wheel sizes this year. So if you're going in as a rookie, you're not going to be as disadvantaged as you would have been otherwise. And if he waits another year, he's going to lose some of the impetus of being there when the new wheels come in. So it actually serves him better to be there now and run around for a year than going in next year when he won't have the same data or the same knowledge of the car, which I kind of understand. I can get on board with that. Artem Markelov is an absolute legend at that level. Anyone who goes into Formula 1 having raced in F2, you've been in a battle and you're blooded when you've gone wheel to wheel with Artem. But I can't see him progressing to Formula 1. I don't imagine him being a title threat, but top 3 or 4 maybe, but he's in BWT... HWA Race Labs, along with Giuliano Alessi, and last year they were as Arden, they weren't really sitting the front of the field light, which actually isn't fair, of course, because Anton Hubert raced for them and he had 2 wins and was like top rookie or something at one point. But I can't see the old reverse grid win maybe in the charge through, very exciting charge through the field, and everyone loves seeing Artem race. Giuliano, I'm sure there is a good racer in him somewhere, but his qualifying isn't good enough. And quickly, just the high-tech guys at the back, because I like high-tech, they're a good team. Nikita Mazepin, I think he's had 1 good season in his entire racing career, and he needs to vastly improve in Formula 2 to have any chance of getting into Formula 1. Luca Giotto, I would have every day over Nikita Mazepin, but I don't know how it stands now. But originally he was going to miss races because of his commitments to GT, but obviously with everything that's happened with COVID and all the calendars being up in the air, I don't know how much that's going to affect it now. So anyway, looking at that, pick one. And I should all be able to say, yes, I think it's going to be this guy, and I'd love to say it's Marcus, and of course I'm going to go and say I want Marcus to win, but quite frankly, it could be any one of about 8 drivers, and I kind of like all of them. So I'm going to say Marcus. Put comments down in the thing below as to who you might think it might be. And thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.